Welcome back to the Caribbean edition of the Useful Content Creation Show. And today we have with us content creator and digital content manager, Paula Joseph.
Broadcasting live from Relate Studios in Trinidad and Tobago, it's the Useful Content Creation Show with your host, Juma Bannister.
Hello and welcome back to the Useful Content Creation Show. This is the Caribbean edition, the Saturday edition of the Useful Content Creation Show. And I'm happy to be with you. A special welcome to the Useful Content community. This is episode 9, season 2 of our show. And today is for all of my Caribbean people and for the international crowd who wants to learn more about content creators in the Caribbean, which is very, very good. Today we're going to have a conversation with Paula in just a couple minutes. And of course, we have the brand new segment that we love so much called Agree, Disagree, which we're going to play a little bit later. But let me say welcome to the Useful Content community. Remember, we are UCC, the Useful Content community. And of course, I should always remind you that we throw up our bulbs. Throw your bulbs up, throw up our bulbs. We shed light on things and light up the place. And of course, you have to drop your hashtag UCC Live. And for those who are coming in on the replay, you can drop your hashtag UCC Replay. We own the bulb emoji. So since this is Saturday and we're being a bit more relaxed, we're not going to take very long. Let's jump straight into the conversation. And today, we have with us, let me just make sure this thing is right. Today we have with us all the way from San Fernando. And for those who don't know, San Fernando is in Trinidad and Tobago, is in the south of Trinidad and Tobago. Today we have with us all the way from San Fernando, digital content manager, content creator, owner of the Marketing Aid. Please put your bulbs up and help me welcome to the show, Paula Joseph. Hello, Paula. It's great to have you on today. And and today we're going to be kind of relaxed as we usually are on a Saturday, but it doesn't mean that we won't be talking about very good things that can be useful for people. All right, so just off the bat, tell the people who you are and what you're about.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Paula Joseph, and I am a digital freelancer. And as Juma said, I'm a digital content manager as well on one of the agencies that I work with. I work with a remote marketing agency called AC Marketing Caribbean. And there I undertake like a couple different duties in terms of content marketing, content creation, managing our content calendar, all that good stuff. But yeah, that's basically it.
Right. And you do actually create your own content as well, but that's more like your stuff. But so big question, Paula. What makes your content useful?
What makes my content useful? So that is such a great question. I believe that based on all of the clients that I have in my roster, whether it's clients from the agencies that I work with or my personal clients, because I'm in this space of marketing and the different industries that they are in, my content has to be industry specific. And I feel like that is what makes it useful, because if I have to speak to a specific audience in an industry outside of marketing, I have to definitely do research and know what I'm speaking about to be able to communicate to their audience or their online community. And that's what I think makes my content useful.
Okay, excellent. And that's so important, actually doing the research and finding out what you're talking about, because, as a digital content manager, yeah, I mean, you're not just regurgitating stuff. You actually have to know a little bit about some of the stuff that you're putting out there. Not so. That's just, this
Definitely.
is just a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have to know a lot, because if you I mean, you don't have to know like every single thing, but you definitely have to know exactly what you're talking about and what you want to relay to the audience, or what your client wants to relay to their audience, and it has
Mm.
to be right. So you definitely do research.
All right, great. And this week, you've been posting more frequently on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think you just recently came to the end of a 30 post in 30 days challenge. I think you challenged
Yeah.
yourself. You-
Yeah, so there was a brand 30 challenge. I forgot the name of the person on LinkedIn who did it. And I decided I'll just hop on and do it. So, but it was like they had a cohort going on, and I just decided to go in on my own time and
Mm.
facilitate the challenge. Yeah.
What was it like? Was it difficult?
Um, it was not difficult in terms of like, for if I'm planning my weeks out. In terms of content, it would be easy because I schedule my content before.
Mm.
However, like if I had to do more of on the spot type things, because there were some prompts that you'd have to do like a post of the day, I think it would be difficult. It would have been more difficult for me to manage that versus the planning part. Once it's planned, it's fine. Planning is key. But if it's more of a spontaneous type thing, I try to do less spontaneous stuff because I'm a planner that way. But yeah, it was from a content creator, like if you're personally creating content for yourself, it was kind of difficult for spontaneous ones. But for planning, the planning aspect, for sure, was no, was
Right.
easy.
And that would explain this. That would explain why when we were talking about, because we booked the show since last year, and I
Yeah,
was responding to one of your posts, and I was saying you were asking questions about you reintroducing yourself essentially,
yeah,
and I was thinking about the series that answers questions about what you do would be great for those of us who never worked with a digital freelancer. Or I was saying, well,
yeah.
or have you done that already? And then you were like saying something to chat about on your show this coming Saturday, and it's like you're inside the comments, kind of planning what's going to happen on Saturday.
Yes, yes. I am definitely a planner. I like to have myself way in advance. It's better to be prepared than, not saying fail to prepare or something like that.
Right.
Same. But the saying, basically I like to plan ahead, because you never know when, you might need a piece of content there. It's always good to have backup content too, in case of anything. It's good to pivot, all that good stuff. And I think that planning really helps that.
Right, right, right. So your journey started with this digital content creation and digital media managing, digital content management somewhere back in 2018. That's kind of
Yeah.
like when you got into it. So how would you characterize your growth since then?
Oh, it definitely was a journey because I started in blogging actually. I got this opportunity to blog for a local tourism group called Road Trip TT. And basically, I would write blogs for them, and I'd get to go on like trips with them, like hikes or a tour on the Caroni Sanctuary, those kinds of things. And that really actually helped me work on my writing craft. And after that, I started, because at that time I was doing my degree in marketing actually.
Hmm.
And after I finished my degree, I started the marketing aid, which is my freelancing business where I get my personal clients. And in 2020, I would have joined AC Marketing, and other freelancing opportunities would have come my way based on the different things that I offer in terms of like marketing, content creation, and copywriting.
Right, right, right. And you said you started off in blogging. Why
Yeah.
why should someone even have a blog? What's the purpose of a blog?
A blog is a great way for you to communicate with your audience different things. Now, longer form content, persons don't, a lot of persons that I interact with, they don't like to do long form content. They feel like it's not worth it. Like, they usually I'm met with, who's going to sit down for like 4 minutes and read a whole, I'm like, I would, but that's just me, right? But I mean, a blog is so useful to you because you can take that long form content and actually break that up into so many smaller versions for all the platforms that you're on. And a blog is also like a lead generation for your business. For instance, persons who subscribe to your blog, they could automatically be added to your email list, and that's like another way to re-engage them all the time, you know. So a blog is definitely a great investment for your business.
Right, right, right. Explain to me the lead generation part. So you're saying, because for people who don't understand the term lead generation,
Mhm.
so you're saying that a blog can help in your lead generation. What does a blog have to be in order to gain leads for your business? Is it some kind of type of specific way in which it should be done or written or presented in order for that to happen?
What I have found is that listicle style blogs, as ones with, you know, you'd see like eight a Caribbean podcast you should listen to in 2020 or 2022, sorry.
Mm,
Those kinds of things. It's Caribbean specific, just because we're in the Caribbean. It's Caribbean specific. It is a list as well. I think people just love lists. Those types of blogs usually draw in a lot of attention from what I've seen. And additionally, blogs in general, can be a lead generation because a lead generation form. This is a way for you to capture persons who would actually visit your blog. If they subscribe to it, usually some persons put a pop up on their website, like subscribe to my blog for weekly updates, that kind of thing. Once they plug in their email there on the back end, now they can actually be automatically entered into your email marketing audience, and you can send them emails basically, whether it's for your blog or it's different things. You can use the blog essentially as like a funnel. If
right.
yeah, you know what I mean. So when persons read it, they find that's great content. They want to see more. They sign up to your they subscribe to the blog, and once you have, emails are very important to have. Once you have that little piece of information, you could always re-engage your audience.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I think so is important. Back in the days when we used to shoot a lot of weddings, that actually blogging wedding pictures was like that was one of our major things. Our website was ranking #1 for a while because people used to come to see the blogs, and the blogs was mainly pictures. It was like a story about the wedding, and it was mainly pictures. Obviously, blogging requires consistency,
Yes,
doing it,
definitely.
over and over again. And I guess you help people with a lot of that. So because I'm online so much, and particularly I'm on TikTok a lot these days. So I've discovered a ton of new content creators, and particularly also people who have food businesses. So there's a there's a TikTok account called Grill in the Ville, which is a grill spot in Pleasantville, and
Mhm.
they make burgers. And then there is Dan It Up Burger Hut, which is from your hometown in San Fernando. And they were featured on Foodie Nation. They make really great smash burgers. And the only reason I mention this is because I know you're a big burger fan. And so in your internet travels, have you come across somebody's content, and they're doing so much great things, but you just want to reach out to them and say, let me help you make this better, please?
Hmm. Um, for sure. I don't want to name drop anybody, but yeah, I definitely see a lot of small businesses that need help in terms of like marketing themselves online or just building their online communities. But I think the challenge for those persons are they are everything in their business,
Mm,
meaning, like, let's say for instance, not these specific um group of places that you called, that you mentioned, but let's say they might be the chef and they are also the person that's posting on social media, so they don't have as much time to create content for their business or market it online in the way that it should be done. And so that's what I would say, especially specifically those persons who don't have time to do those kinds of things. That's where I come in.
Right. And so how would you treat with something like that? Like, for example, somebody who has an industry that you know nothing about, and they come to you and say, well, I really want to start creating more content to drive more leads for my business. And you are like, I don't know, they make stools, artisan stools or something like that, benches or whatever. And you have no idea about carpentry. What is kind of like the process of onboarding somebody like that? And how do you find that if somebody's a fit or not for you?
Oh, well, definitely. I have a discovery call for my personal parents. I have a discovery call. It's just a 15-minute chat with me to speak about like your pain points and challenges, and then I see if any of the services I offer can actually fit into their plan or the goal that they want to achieve with their social media or their online content. Another thing that I do is I have one-on-one content strategy sessions. I research in advance. I do a ton of research in advance based on the industry. I basically do SWOT analysis just to see the different aspects there are out there that they should be considering. And usually when I go into some of those one-on-one sessions, they are like, oh my god, I didn't even know this. They didn't even know, okay, well, these are their strengths, these are their weaknesses, these are their competitors. I think a lot of entrepreneurs have tunnel vision. They think I'm the only one out here doing it like this. And I mean, that's great. They probably have a good point. They have a good point, a good selling point or so. But what makes you different? What is your unique selling point? I think that's where I come in, and I basically like differentiate them from the market, and then we'll see how we can work together in terms of creating content for the business. And I usually like to do like a holistic content strategy, because persons tend to put everything on social media and not basically work on the back end. For instance, like some of those social media outages that we've had in the past 2 years, actually, because we've had a couple in the past 2 years. And when that's down, they can't make money. Like, okay, so do you have a website? Are you interested in even getting a website? How are you going to engage your customers if this happens again? All those different things I take into consideration. But research is definitely my main point, because I mean, if I know nothing about carpentry and I just go into a strategy session speaking about something that I know nothing about, then it doesn't make sense. I need to be informed, I need to be well researched.
Right. And so part of the process is kind of looking into the person industry and
Hmm.
gathering as much as you can about it so that you could give them insights that they might even not know about.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that makes absolute sense in terms, because I was thinking about it, and like I know what a content strategy is.
Hmm.
And you mentioned the word content strategy. From your perspective, what is a content strategy, and really can anyone with a business make their own and implement it? Is that a thing someone could do for themselves?
It is definitely something that they can do for themselves. We have YouTube and Google just for that. You could Google how to create a content strategy. Now, the thing where people get caught is basically they download all these content strategy templates and they don't necessarily know how to apply it to their specific business or to their specific industry, or they feel like it's too much work even. And that's exactly where like the digital marketing agencies that I work for, they would come in basically, because they have a bunch of freelancers like myself who would come in and do the work, support the businesses in the way that they need. So whether it is they have me on their team as the person who manages their content calendar, or they have a graphic designer, they're doing the visual aspects of it, that kind of thing.
Mm.
Basically, that's a strategy. A strategy has several elements in it to capture the customers that you need, capture the audience that you need, because sometimes strategy doesn't necessarily mean customers or to get customers. I mean, yes, that could be your long term goal, but first you have to build an online community. So let's start there. What's the plan for growing your audience? What's the plan for engaging with your audience? Could be the audience that you already have, you know. And one of the things that I learned in a sales course is that you may have an audience and they are ready to buy from you actually, but you don't know that. And like a lot of persons, they tend to want to grow their audience, but there are persons who actually want to buy from you. It's just that you're not putting out the content that would tell them, would let them say immediately, yes, this is,
Mm.
I have to work with her immediately, you know?
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, that's interesting. I found that we have come to a place now, like because I've been putting on so much content for the last year, I've kind of had to turn away people because people want things from me that I am not ready to give them. And
Right.
yeah,
Good
I
point.
found I found that happens. Are you going to expound on that?
Well, I was saying that there are elements like persons will reach out to you for things that are outside of your scope, and I think it is important that you as a content creator and as a freelancer, whatever you want to call it, know what is within your scope.
Mm.
And if it is that you cannot support somebody in the way that you would like to, or in the way that they should be supported, definitely either put them on to somebody else. I always like to say, if I can't work with somebody, I'm always going to point them in the right direction. At least that's the least I could do, you know. So that's what I'd say. Like if you can't support somebody in the way that they should be supported, it's best to at least point them in the direction that they should go, so that they could get the support that they need. I think that's really mature.
Right, 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 definitely. And I want your thoughts on this based on your experience on social media, the things that you're able to learn, and do you think it's impossible to fit the rapidly changing nature of social media into the traditional educational system?
Um, if I think it's too big for
If
school
if
to
it's
go into the
impossible to
curriculum,
literally to teach those things because of how it changes so fast.
it's not impossible. I do not think it's impossible at all. I mean, you have to understand that social media is dynamic, it's ever changing. Like for instance, back in my day, there was High Five. I don't know where High Five is now, but
Same place as
but
sorry, I was just going to say
MySpace
the
and so
state of
on.
MySpace, yeah, the graveyard,
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, it is changing. You have to go into, if you are somebody who is educating students on social media. First of all, that's the bottom line. Social media is dynamic. In the morning, we might get up and there's a new app that we have to probably engage with. We don't necessarily have to, but I mean, it's existing, you know. So what I would say is, in my experience, when I was doing my degree, my digital marketing lecturer, she had us do one of the activities. I believe we had an exercise where we were she basically put up a tweet as a question, and we'd have to respond to the tweet basically on Twitter. I mean, there are really cool ways for you to incorporate social media in your curriculum as an educator, and also, even though it is rapidly changing, I mean, there are ways for you to incorporate social media into whatever you're doing. And it's not necessary for you to run down every single app. It's just the ones that, I mean, you feel your audience is on. You know your audience is on, because I mean, you have to do research. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's like out of bounds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think it's quite possible.
Yeah,
And that would probably be the one of the more popular classes because
for sure.
because everybody wants to know.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to know. What is
I
your
think
what is
that
your? Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I think that's also one of the things that was lacking in terms of when I was doing my degree. I mean, social media was discussed, it was a part of my digital marketing course, but they didn't teach you exactly how to use Instagram or how to use
Mhm.
Facebook, how to create an ad. It's almost as if you know how they say you go to school and, well, in Trinidad, you come out of school and you don't know how to sign up for NIS or all these little things that are actually important. Like by the time I finished my degree, social Instagram had taken off. Um, so obviously at that time, I would have loved to learn how to capitalize on Instagram itself. And at that time, I don't think I had these skills. I had to go and do my research again. But I mean, it's social media comes with that. It comes with the territory. You always have to learn and relearn something. So I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying.
Right. Right. What is your major learning resource today?
Definitely YouTube.
The University of YouTube, boy.
Yes, YouTube is it. I think you get such wide perspectives on YouTube, and the bundles of personality there. YouTube is literally my source of inspiration for content as well, based on the creators that are on there, and well, of course, TikTok as well, like TikTok.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. I love YouTube. YouTube. I learned photography from YouTube and turned it
Oh,
into a
awesome!
business. Well, I mean, I ordered books too. I mean, at that time, Amazon and you used to order physical books, so we had physical books. But in terms of like learning stuff, it was like YouTube and it was like Facebook, and you know, some people can't do that. Some people can't look at videos and get value
Learn,
enough for them to
yeah.
put things into practice, and they have to have like a mentor or something. But
Hmm.
in general, the information is there, is
Yeah,
available.
yeah,
It's
it's
available.
available, and also in terms of learning via video, it is discipline as well. I mean, yes, you probably need a mentor, whoever that type of learning style would appeal to. But in terms of, let's say, remotely working or doing it on your own, I think you definitely need some self discipline if you want to learn from YouTube.
Right, definitely. And it's crazy, yeah. You wanted to be an accountant, and it's crazy that you are in this digital marketing career today.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to be an accountant ever since I was little. I wanted to be an accountant, and the reason was silly. I just when I was younger, like a kid, I always thought that the girls, specifically in Republic Bank, used to look really nice, and I wanted to wear the uniform. Right? I was like, it's only when I got older I was like, the bank doesn't necessarily, like, all the persons aren't accountants, they are tellers and so on. But I just thought bank accountant, I want to be that. I did principles of accounts in Form 3. In my high school, we did a ton of subjects in Form 3. That's you to test it out to see what you want to do in Form 4 and write for CXC. I did really well the first term for POA, which is principles of accounts. And then the second term, I failed that, and I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And after that, it was a wrap. I actually got into marketing. Actually, I did a associate degree in business administration, and the course that jumped out to me was marketing 101. And after that, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do the bachelor's in marketing, and it was the best decision.
Right, 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 right. The last person, the last guest on my show started off as an accountant.
Oh,
And it's so strange. I don't know if you know Marcus Leafolk. He's one of our industry peers. He and Satang will have the
yeah.
photography business again. Yeah, he started off as an accountant and then transitioned to creative. My friend, who's the CEO of one of a company in Trinidad and Tobago, I won't call his name, but he went from accountant to creative to now a CEO of major company. So a lot of people start off thinking they're going to be good with numbers, and then they just end up
Yeah.
in creative. So you're in good
Well, we
company.
kind of in numbers too. I mean, data.
Ah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Data is quite important. More. Do you find it difficult to convince people of the need to look at the numbers?
Yeah, I think. Okay, I would say also for myself, data is one of the most difficult parts of marketing to wrap your head around. But once you know how to use analytics to support your decisions, that is that's the goal. But yes, convincing persons to use data sometimes, ironically, sometimes, or just in a weird way, you'd have the data to support something, to support a type of content, and then you do something else and it takes off. Like, why does that happen? You know, that is crazy. But
Yeah.
I mean, yes, um, making decisions based on data is definitely important. That's the route to should take. But yeah, it's difficult to convince people of that.
Yeah, I think there is a conversation to be had about things like attribution and fragmented funnels and things, things like dark social. There's a lot of conversations to be had around what does the data really represent, and should you
True.
always listen to it in the way that you think it should be used. So it's never really a one-to-one conversation. I think it takes a lot of creativity in how you want to not just know the data, but do you want to really listen to this in this way, or do you want to put 3 months into figuring out if this thing is broken?
Exactly.
And because in my own personal experience, when I came onto LinkedIn, everybody was saying do short form videos,
Right.
and I said, you know what, I'm going to do. Going to max it out. I did 9 minutes and 59-second videos, and the videos got traction. People looked at the videos. No, I don't do that anymore because I've proven the point that people don't necessarily want to see less. They want to see more of what they want. They want to see things that
Right.
are interesting to
Exactly.
them. So
That's exactly what you said. They want to see more of what they want. And that's basically one of my favorite content creators. She holds my interest on her show that she has on YouTube.
is Amelia.
So yes, Amelia. Oh, you do your research here. You're making me feel like you're not well.
Nadwa, he's the next one. I love Nadwa. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Amelia for Chicken Shop Date, like I watched all of her episodes and the entire duration of the episode. Like it's just amazing and it's funny. I mean her series is hilarious to me. So yes, they want to see more of what they want, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. She's the one that you will consider you doom scroll to?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, just scroll episode after episode.
Yes, episode after episode. When I found her, I was like amazed. And I'm a binge watcher. I'm not ashamed to say I am a binge watcher of all things good. What I think is good content. Once you get over my interest, I will watch out a series in like a day, a night, whatever. But yeah, so when I found her content, I was like, yeah, this is going so good. I have to click, 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 and I wake up and it's like, well, I get up off in bed. And I'm like, oh, it's nighttime already.
Talking about your bed, one of the things that you have said that the reasons you like freelancing is because you have immediate access to naps and to your bed and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which I agree with, by the way. If and let me and this is a kind of a question that some people will find hard to answer, but this might be very easy to you. If you can make 2 or 3 times the money you make now by going back to work full time, would you do it?
Okay. The reason that this is difficult for me is because I have a lot of goals this year that need the financing. So only this one I would say I'd go, but like only when I make all the funds I need, I'd come back. But yeah, no, freelancing definitely. Because it's basically I have more control of my time. Um, and I think that's important.
Right.
I always felt always felt out of I don't know, not necessarily out of place, but I just believe that I always knew that I wanted to work for myself. And
Right.
the day I actually interviewed for my previous job, which was an administrative assistant job, I told them that I was not staying there for long. My intention was 2 years, and I actually stayed for five,
Oh,
which, I mean, knowing what I know now, I think that I would have started freelancing way sooner. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would never go back.
yeah, yeah. And so you're on. It's hard to go back. I mean,
It is.
I have been.
You ever tried?
No, no. Why?
I know. I want to say I was like,
Well, it's
I'm
hard to
like,
go back. It's hard. I think about the flexibility of life and the fact that I get spend time with my children and
hmm,
the things I can do. I mean, it just does not make sense. I don't see how it can make sense to work. I mean, I would do it if like the situation came up and I had to do it, but
yeah, had
just like
to.
you, it's like
Yeah, if
you know,
you're backed in a corner,
yeah, you don't really want to. You don't really
yeah,
want to do that.
exactly.
It's like I think I'll pass. Even for
Yeah,
more money. It's like I mean,
yeah, if it's more money.
for me,
I
even
actually, yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I actually told my mom the other day. I believe she called me for something, and she works like pretty close to where I am. And I was like, could you imagine if I was in a conventional job? I wouldn't be able to do this. And she was just laughing. Like at the moment's notice, I could have just run over there and give her what she wanted. So
Yeah,
I really like the flexibility of that for sure.
yeah, yeah. It's useful. I mean, that's not easy, but
Yeah, it isn't.
it's
Self
used.
discipline, again, that we were talking about earlier. Definitely self discipline, because it's easy with freelancing as well. If you don't have like a system in place in terms of scheduling yourself, making sure your tasks are done in time and on time, um, it's easy to falter.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, discipline is a big part of being self-employed or running a business or being a business owner. It's a massive part of it. It's the thing that people will see that comes from behind the scenes that people will teach you that when you're going full
True.
time, especially if you're young. It's like, oh, it's going to be great. I could be my own boss.
Yeah.
The problem is your own boss. That's the problem right there.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and so it takes a tremendous amount of discipline. Um, so you're Facebook certified. What does that mean?
Sorry. So I did a Facebook Blueprint course, basically digital marketing associate course with Blueprint, Facebook Blueprint. Basically they give you you have to do a test at the end of all the learning material that they would provide. Basically different things. They touch on a couple different things like ads, Facebook ads, social media in general, but it's Facebook specific. So you get that little badge stating that you passed the that specific course. There are a ton of courses on Facebook Blueprint that persons could invest their time and knowledge and money as well, because you have to pay for the course. The test, you don't have to pay for the course. The knowledge is free, but if you want the badge, you have to pay to take the test. And yeah, that's basically it. But it's I think I shared that Pauline from AC Marketing, when I joined her team, she told me, she shared that you have to learn the platforms from the platform's perspective, and that's why I seek to invest in knowledge, not the knowledge that a platform would provide. So, like, say for instance, Facebook has their own little educational system called Facebook Blueprint. It's wise for you to go learn about Facebook from there. I mean, yes, YouTube, yes, everywhere else, but from the platform's perspective, I think there's like value in that.
Right. Have they adjusted things since the adjustments to the ability to segment things has changed? Has that been very, very negative as far as you see, or are you still able to manage? Because I know segmentation was difficult in Trinidad and Tobago anyway, but
Yeah, in
maybe it's
terms of
become
ads,
yeah, yeah.
I think
Um,
it's, I think remember they have this big change to Meta and so on. So I
yeah,
think they're still working on that, because I mean, you can't. There are specific things you can do in terms of ad spend and managing your ad spend wisely. and getting a bang for your buck in terms of your audience. I usually, for my ads, in terms of the teams that I work on, they have their ad person. But for me personally, with my ads, I would just use the whatever Facebook suggests in terms of the data that they have on my audience. I think that's the best value that you can get in
Right.
terms of ads and ad spend.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. All right, so this is good. The conversation's been going really well, but let's jump into our agree disagree segment now because
Excited.
excite more for this segment because we're running down to we were 40 minutes in. So let's have that segment. People, we introduced this season and people seem to like it, and so let's do it. All right, this is the agree disagree segment of the useful content creation show. Now I have to tell you, Paula, the things statements I'm gonna make. It doesn't. I don't necessarily agree or disagree with any of these things. These are just
Right.
statements. But you could go ahead and tell me if you agree or disagree. And if you're hearing in the comments and you want to play along, feel free. Some of these are specifically for Paula, so it might not make sense, but feel free to play along anyway. All right. And some of these I've asked already, but you will see some new ones as well. Let's jump right into agree, disagree. The first one I would ask you, I would say is agree, disagree. Passion before skill.
Okay. I'd say. Okay. I'd say.
These two foot swellers, you can stop to the first one.
Agree. The only reason I say agree, okay, yeah, the only reason I say agree is because you can read. This is a good one, you know. You know why? Because I'm thinking I used to love accounting, and now I don't. But I'm skilled in marketing. I love marketing too. Um, you know what? I would say skill before passion. So I would say I disagree with passion
Disagree.
before skill.
Are
Yes.
you are you are you an overthinker, Paula? I know you're a planner, but are
I
you an
am
overthinker?
I am what you call it? That thing where somebody is I'm not overthinker. They just like they can't make decisions. What do you
That's
call it?
overthinking, is it not?
No, there's a word for it. I forget the name.
All right,
Anyway,
we'll
yeah,
figure
we'll
it out.
figure
We'll
it out.
figure it out. We'll figure it
I'm
out.
also, I mean, I don't necessarily believe in horoscopes, but I'm also a Libra, so the scale is always off balance.
All right,
I'm here
right,
for
right,
it.
all right. Okay, all right. Let's go on to the other one. Next one. Agree, disagree. Not everyone should be on social media.
Agree.
Ooh, that was fast.
Mhm.
Why?
Um, Not everybody needs to be on social media. I mean, it depends on what your goal is. Social media might work for you, but if um, you don't have a specific reason to be on social media, then I mean,
Right. All right. Okay, good. Agree, disagree. Understanding brings confidence.
yes, just like research, when you understand something, you would be more confident to speak about it. So I agree with this statement.
All right. Okay. Nice. Agree, disagree.
I
I'd rather
remember the
have
word.
lunch with the cast of The Office over being on the Wendy's show live audience.
Whoa!
I
Okay,
don't want you.
I'll go with the office. Yes, I agree with this.
You agree with this? By the way, I am also a fan of mockumentaries, and you know,
Which ones you
I love The Office. I actually am a big fan of. Well, this is not necessarily a mockumentary, although it's very meta. I like Community.
yeah.
So it's really Community is very like the most meta show you'll find. It's like a show inside a show inside a show. So I love Community, but I love The Office as well. It's
Yeah, your office is
and
hilarious.
Parks and Rec. I love Parks and Rec too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome shows. Also, I remember the word. It's indecisive.
Oh,
Um,
Indecisive.
yes. So yes,
Okay,
overthinker, indecisive. Yeah.
yeah, I get you on that. I get you on that. So have lunch with the cast of The Office. Who's your favorite?
For sure.
Um.
Oh,
uh,
John Krasinski, Jim, of course. I
oh,
wish
you
I was
don't say. The Krasinski himself. Were you kind of happy when he started this good news stuff over the pandemic?
Yes.
Some good
It's
news,
not,
SGN. Yeah, okay, yeah. He was doing well with that on YouTube. I'm not sure if he's continuing it though.
I saw him in a Netflix show recently. Yeah, something new out.
Yeah, it's right. I think he has some new stuff out. All right, next question. Agree, disagree? It's possible to survive online without a website.
Yes, absolutely. I'm doing it. I'm actually working on getting my website this year. So, what I would say, my advice would be for persons, especially if you're service based, you could set up your like calendar in terms of booking appointments. You have your virtual meetings and so on, and I mean you have an accounting system to send out invoices and so on, and you use social media in a way where you can share your services and so on. But ultimately, the goal should be to have a website so that when you're asleep, you can still be making money, basically.
All right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I always encourage people to have a website. I mean, we're redoing ours right now because the website is, your website is never good enough. But you do
True.
have a blog though.
I
You do have a blog,
but
which
it's not up to date, because I'm working
it's
on
it, ne-
everybody else's content.
it never is. It never is. I mean, but you'll fix that eventually, I'm sure. Okay,
Yeah,
agree, disagree. How you communicate your ideas is more important than the ideas themselves.
I agree. And the reason I'm going to agree is because that's actually one of the reasons that I enjoy freelancing too. I usually have some ideas, and when I write copy for, let's say, a specific video, um, or like I give some directives for a graphic designer to do something, and it comes out 100 times better than I ever envisioned. I think that's important because I was capable of communicating my idea,
Hmm.
and somebody took it, like if they were in my head, they took the idea and they executed it perfectly. And I feel like if the communication wasn't right, then the idea couldn't come to life. So
Yeah.
so I
Sometimes
agree with it.
it's better that you are able to say it and communicate it,
Yeah,
rather than having the best. You don't need the best idea. You just need to be clear
yeah,
with what you're communicating. Yeah, so I agree with
yes.
that. All right. Next one. Agree, disagree. On social media, you grow more from doing rather than consuming.
This is kind of a neutral because you can actually be a consumer of content and grow professionally and personally, and you can also be a person who creates content on social media and grow. Okay, I will just say for the purpose of this live, I will say I agree.
Okay. All right. I just because it's a hard one. It's a hard one because you
Yeah,
do
it's
both,
a
right?
yeah,
You do both. I think doing is a lot more useful than consuming. Um, for most things, doing is a lot more useful because in
right,
doing you learn, you make space for new things to happen. But that's this is a perspective. And
yeah.
finally, agree, disagree. It's impossible for an individual to be successful on multiple social media platforms doing the work for themselves.
I disagree. It's not impossible. It's just going to be difficult in
Do,
terms
do
of
you
time management.
right? Do you, as somebody's new, they have a business and they're new to social media, how many platforms do you recommend and why?
I would say two. I'm usually persons just go with Facebook and Instagram initially. That's what I've encountered because mainly they're connected. The same thing you post on Instagram, you post on Facebook with that little toggle button, or the automatic if you enable it automatically. But I would say two is easy to start with, and then you can transition into more if the need is there, or if your audience is there. I mean, if your audience is migrating to the platforms that you go on, well then, I mean, you absolutely could do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, keep it tight.
Because like if you think about it, right? Didn't you do that like LinkedIn, TikTok? You have your audience on TikTok, and so on. But do you think they are different audiences?
Yeah,
They are
absolutely.
different audiences, right?
Absolutely, 100% different audiences, and it's a different.
Okay.
I can only do that now because I know.
Right,
People starting off may not know.
right.
Um, and so I agree with you that being very focused on one platform, especially, I give things a year. This is just my personal philosophy. Like I say,
Okay.
do it for a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Focus for a year, and when you focus for a year and you figure things out, and you have the thing almost an autopilot in your mind and in your systems, then you could
Yeah.
start to tinker. And that's what I did with LinkedIn. I didn't touch TikTok until I finished LinkedIn for a year.
Okay, okay, excellent.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what happened. It's interesting.
That's actually really, it is definitely interesting because, like, some people say that like Facebook doesn't work for them, but I mean, did they give Facebook time or whatever platform they're on? I mean, a lot of persons that I know, they don't use LinkedIn at all because they're like, how could I grow on LinkedIn? And like, I mean, did you try? You didn't try.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's so much I could say about that, about what I discovered over the last year on LinkedIn, and what I think, especially for Caribbean people, how it's useful
Yeah.
and how it's not useful.
Hmm.
Um, because anyway, that's a whole other discussion. We could
Yeah.
sit down and talk about that for another half an hour. That's the last one. That's the last agree disagree question. So what do you want to share with the people before we bring everything in for landing? What are some of the thoughts that you might want to share with people?
I'll share that content creation is not as tough as it seems. I mean, everybody tends to think that out the gate they want to have like the latest camera if they're doing videos. They want to have the best microphone, and it's less about the tools and more about what you have to say that
Right.
matters. I mean, you can always imagine if you put out content on whatever you have now, and you in a couple of years later you look back on the video. I mean, sometimes you cringe, right? You'd be like, oh god, like what I was doing, but you see a growth, and I think that resonates with audiences. You see like that organic growth, or that 10-year picture thing that actually goes around now, how it started versus how it's going. People love to see growth like that, and I feel like that's important. You can start now, anytime. You don't need to wait on any special something to get it
Mm.
done.
Yeah, definitely. Start now. I like that advice. So let's look at the places you don't want people to go. Let's look at your your link for your your blog. So this you can check out Paula's blog there. This is like a bit of a portfolio work type of thing, and
Yeah.
her lovely new photograph. She literally has the
Thank
hairstyling
you.
still. Um,
Yes.
you know,
Good
um,
eye, good eye. New personal branding photos. That's my theme for the year. Personal branding for sure.
personal branding photos. Your last
Yeah.
set was, and the colors are interesting too. Your last set was the well, of course, the yellow. That's the picture
Yeah.
they sent from previously, with your hair out in the natural styles
Yeah.
now. Have the
Yeah, that
braids
was
together.
last year. That's last year, Paula. New
That's last
Paula
year,
this year.
new Paula. And you can check her out on LinkedIn as well. So in Paula Joseph, you can check that out. There's a link right there. And of course, Marketing Aid is on IG. You
Yeah.
can check out the Marketing Aid on IG, and of course, go across the AC Caribbean. Paula's content is being posted there all the time, and on her LinkedIn page as well. And so that's it. Thank you so much, Paula, for coming on the show.
Thank you
This
so much for having me.
you're welcome. This lovely Saturday in Trinidad and Tobago. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Useful Content community. Thank you for joining us for this show. And we will see you in the next episode of the Useful Content Creation Show. Bye, everyone.